How art reflects society and human experience. A. Art as a way of seeing the world. Art has long been used not only to create beautiful objects, but also to explore how people understand reality. From the perspective of critical realism, artists can represent ordinary life while drawing attention to the social conditions surrounding it. Other approaches place greater emphasis on personal experience and emotion. Naturalism, for example, attempts to portray people and their environments in a relatively realistic manner, whereas Romanticism often emphasizes imagination, emotion, and the power of nature. In contrast, Expressionism deliberately distorts external reality in order to communicate intense emotions. Surrealism goes even further by combining unexpected images and ideas, often drawing on dreams and the subconscious. Symbolism similarly encourages viewers to look beyond the literal appearance of an image and search for deeper meaning. B. Styles, movements, and historical change. Artistic movements are strongly influenced by the societies in which they develop. Renaissance artists placed renewed emphasis on humanism, observation, and classical learning, while Baroque art often employed dramatic compositions, movement, and emotional intensity. Centuries later, Socialist realism promoted art that reflected particular political and social ideals. Meanwhile, avant-garde artists challenged established conventions and experimented with unfamiliar forms. These movements demonstrate that art is not static. A new aesthetic can emerge when artists reject existing traditions and search for alternative ways of representing reality. A movement may eventually influence an entire generation before being replaced by another artistic approach. C. Painting and visual composition. The visual arts include a wide range of techniques and materials. A still life picture, for instance, may depict everyday objects arranged carefully within a particular composition. Artists must consider the relationships between shapes, colors, and spaces. Hue refers to the basic quality of a color, while saturation describes the intensity or purity of that color. By adjusting these features, an artist can create different visual effects. Perspective is another important element. A vanishing point helps create the impression of depth, while an oblique line can influence the direction in which a spectator's eye moves across the image. Artists may also create works using gouache, a type of opaque water-based paint, or produce a fresco by applying pigment to a fresh plaster surface. Other traditional techniques include woodcut, engraving, and charcoal drawing. D. From representation to abstraction. Not every artist attempts to reproduce the visible world accurately. Abstract art may simplify, distort, or completely transform recognizable forms. Instead of showing an object exactly as it appears, an artist may focus on color, shape, movement, or emotional effect. One important technique is stylization, in which recognizable forms are deliberately modified according to a particular artistic convention. This can be especially effective when an artist wants to bring out a particular quality of a subject. An artifact can therefore provide evidence not only about artistic skill, but also about the values of the society that produced it. When examining an artifact, researchers consider its materials, technique, subject matter, and historical context. Performance, audience, and the arts. Art is not limited to objects that can be displayed in a gallery. In performing arts, a spectator becomes part of the experience by responding to what is happening on stage. A theater production may include music performed by an orchestra, while a choreographer may choreograph the movements of performers. The visual arrangement of a performance can be just as important as the dialogue. A performer may use caricature to exaggerate certain physical or behavioral characteristics for humorous or critical effect. In a more serious performance, however, movement, music, and visual imagery may be combined to create an evocative atmosphere. Art, literature, and personal memory. The relationship between visual art and literature is particularly strong. A painter may create an image inspired by a poem, while a writer may describe a painting in a novel or essay. Literary works can take many forms. Prose is the ordinary written form of language, while blank verse consists of unrhymed poetic lines that follow a regular rhythm. An elegy is traditionally a poem expressing sorrow or remembrance, often following a death. Writers may also produce an autobiography, recounting important events from their own lives. A collection of literary works can be published as an anthology, while individual articles or stories may appear in a periodical. Artists and writers may also use their own experiences as creative material. A person who poses for an artist is known as a sitter, and the resulting work may preserve not only physical appearance, but also something about the relationship between the artist and the subject. The artist and the art market. Although artistic creation is often associated with personal expression, artists also operate within economic systems. A painter, sculptor, or writer may receive remuneration for producing creative work. A highly successful work may eventually become recognized as a masterpiece, although such recognition is often influenced by critics, institutions, collectors, and changing cultural values. The status of a masterpiece is therefore not determined entirely by technical quality. An artwork may become important because it represents a major historical change, introduces an innovative technique, or expresses an idea that continues to influence later generations.